You exist for 60 days. That's it. 2 months from factory floor to recycling furnace, then you're reborn. You've lived this cycle maybe 50 times already, but you don't remember. Your aluminum has been a bike frame, a ladder, an airplane wing. Right now, you're a Coca-Cola can. Welcome to your incredibly strange life. Your story begins in a place most people never think about. A bauxite mine in Australia or Guinea or Brazil, deep red earth, massive excavators, dust everywhere. This ore becomes alumina through a chemical bath that's honestly pretty nasty. Then smelting transforms it into pure aluminum, using enough electricity to power a house for 5 years, just for 1 ton of metal. But here's what makes you special. There's a 71% chance you're not new aluminum at all. You're recycled. You've been through this before. The aluminum arrives at the can factory as a massive coil, like paper in a printing press, but metal. It's alloy 3104-H19, which sounds complicated, but just means aluminum mixed with about 1% manganese and 1% magnesium. This combination gives you strength without making you brittle. The coil feeds into a press that punches out hundreds of cup shapes per minute. Imagine a cookie cutter, but industrial and terrifying. Your journey through the forming machines happens so fast it's almost violent. The small cup gets forced through a series of rings in a process called ironing, not the closed kind. This stretches you to full height, shapes your bottom dome, makes you actually look like a can. You're spun while cutting tools trim you to exact length. Then, into the washer. Multiple stations, high pressure sprays, because any contamination ruins everything. Now comes the part where you get your identity. The printer rolls you against cylinders that apply up to 4 colors simultaneously. That iconic red and white design. The flowing script. It happens in seconds. You're one of thousands moving through this machine every hour, but each print has to be perfect. 1 smudge, 1 misalignment, and you're rejected. Melted down, start over, you weigh 12.99 grams. That's it. 30 years ago, you would have weighed 15.83 grams. Engineers have been shaving material off you for decades, making you thinner, lighter, but somehow still strong enough to hold carbonated liquid under pressure. It's a minor miracle of materials engineering that nobody appreciates. After printing, you're coated inside with a polymer lining. This stops the aluminum from reacting with the acidic Coca-Cola. Without it, you'd taste metallic and weird within hours. The coating is invisible, microscopic, but absolutely essential. Then you're palletized with thousands of your identical siblings and shipped to a bottling plant. The bottling facility is where things get interesting. You arrive empty, obviously. The Coca-Cola syrup comes from one of about 80 concentrate plants worldwide, shipped to over 225 bottling partners across 200 countries. The syrup itself is manufactured in Atlanta, the secret formula locked in a vault that's probably more myth than security at this point. But the mystique sells. At the bottling plant, you're sterilized again. Can't be too careful. The filling line moves so fast it's basically a blur. Purified water mixed with syrup, sweeteners, that secret blend of ingredients that somehow tastes the same whether you're in Tokyo or Toronto. The liquid fills you in less than a second. Then the lid. Your aluminum top gets seamed onto your body with such precision that the seal is airtight. Pressure sensors check every single can. Too much carbonation and you might explode. Too little and the drink goes flat. You're packaged into a case with 11 others, shrink-wrapped, loaded onto a pallet with hundreds more cases, then onto a truck. The distribution network is insane when you think about it. 1.9 billion servings per day. That's not a typo. Nearly 2 billion Coca-Cola products consumed every single day around the world. You're a tiny part of an absolutely massive machine. The truck drops you at a grocery store. You sit in a cooler for maybe a week, could be less. The stock rotates fast. Someone's hand reaches in during their weekly shopping trip. You're tossed in a cart next to bread and eggs and whatever else they need. Scanned at checkout, bagged, driven to someone's house. You spend 3 days in their refrigerator. It's cold and boring. You can sense the other food around you through temperature changes, vibrations when the door opens and closes. Then finally, on a Saturday afternoon, someone pulls you out. There's a satisfying crack as they open your tab. The pressure releases. The carbonation that's been trapped inside you rushes up. That first sip happens within seconds of opening. 15 minutes later, you're empty. Crushed slightly, tossed toward a recycling bin, the person misses, you roll under the counter. This is where your fate splits into 2 completely different paths, and you have absolutely no control over which one you're about to take. Path 1. You stay under that counter for 3 weeks. Dust accumulates. Someone eventually finds you during a deep clean and tosses you in the trash. Regular trash, not recycling. You end up in a garbage truck, compacted with banana peels and junk mail and whatever else people throw away. The truck takes you to a landfill. You're buried under tons of waste, literal tons. And here's the thing about aluminum in a landfill: you don't decompose, not in any meaningful time frame. Aluminum doesn't break down like organic matter. You could sit there for 200 years, maybe longer, essentially unchanged. You're worth money, about 1.2 cents in recyclable value, but nobody's digging through a landfill to find you. In 2019 alone, 50 billion cans ended up exactly where you are now. That's $810 million worth of aluminum just sitting in the ground doing nothing. Complete waste in every sense of the word. Path 2. Someone spots you under the counter the next morning, picks you up, drops you in the blue recycling bin where you should have gone in the first place. This changes everything. Within a week, you're collected by a recycling truck and delivered to a sorting facility. Machines separate you from paper, plastic, glass. Magnets don't work on aluminum, so they use eddy current separators instead. Spinning magnetic fields create electrical currents in your aluminum body, which generates a magnetic field that repels you. You're literally thrown off the conveyor belt into a separate pile. It's surprisingly violent. You're crushed into a bale with about 64,999 other cans. The bale weighs 2,200 pounds. Imagine being compressed with that many of your former siblings into a dense cube. You're shipped to an aluminum refining plant. This is where the magic happens. You're shredded into tiny chips, then you're loaded into a massive furnace. The temperature hits 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. You melt. Your red and white paint burns off. The polymer lining inside you vaporizes. You become molten aluminum, indistinguishable from the thousands of other cans melting alongside you. Every memory of being an individual container is erased at a molecular level. The molten metal gets poured into molds. It cools into ingots, these huge blocks that weigh 27 tons each. One ingot contains about 1.5 million recycled cans. You're a tiny fraction of that mass now, mixed with everyone else. The ingot gets reheated and rolled flat into thin sheets. The same process that created you the first time happens again. Blanks get punched out, cups get formed. The ironing process stretches you back into shape. 60 days. That's all it takes from recycling bin to brand new can on a store shelf. 60 days to complete the loop. And here's what makes aluminum special. You can do this infinitely. Glass loses quality when recycled. Plastic degrades after a few cycles and becomes useless. But aluminum? No structural loss whatsoever. You could be recycled 500 times and still be just as strong, just as pure. 75% of all aluminum ever produced is still in use today because of this. It's genuinely remarkable when you think about it, but only if you make it to the recycling bin. Right now, only about 50% of cans do. That rate used to be over 62% back in 1991. It's gotten worse, not better. Every minute, 90,000 aluminum cans get recycled in the United States. Sounds impressive until you realize that means another 90,000 don't. The energy comparison is stark. Creating you from raw bauxite ore requires 15 megawatt hours of electricity per ton of aluminum, enough to power a house for 5 years. Recycling you uses 5% of that energy. 5%. The environmental math isn't even close. Mining bauxite tears up landscapes in Africa, South America, Oceania. The refining process produces 5 tons of toxic red mud waste for every ton of aluminum. Smelting releases greenhouse gases, acid rain precursors, volatile hydrocarbons. Hydroelectric dams built to power aluminum production have flooded rainforests and displaced indigenous communities. Your creation from scratch carries serious environmental weight, but your rebirth through recycling? Dramatically cleaner. The carbon footprint of a recycled aluminum can is 43% lower than it was 3 decades ago. You outperform glass bottles significantly. You're roughly equivalent to plastic in terms of emissions, but unlike plastic, you actually get recycled at meaningful rates when given the chance. Plastic just piles up in oceans and landfills, breaking into smaller pieces but never truly disappearing. You either become something useful again or you sit intact in the ground. No middle ground, no microplastic pollution, just waiting. So there you are, either buried in a landfill for the next 2 centuries or melted down and reformed within 2 months. The entire trajectory of your existence determined by whether someone aimed correctly at a recycling bin. You were designed for immortality through reuse, engineered to be infinitely recyclable, but half the time you end up as expensive trash. That's the reality of being a Coca-Cola can. You're simultaneously a miracle of sustainable design and a monument to human wastefulness, depending entirely on what happens in the 3 seconds after someone finishes drinking. Path 1 means centuries of waiting in the dark. Path 2 means rebirth in 60 days. Your fate was decided by one person's aim toward a bin. You're either waste or infinite potential. That's the strange truth of your existence as aluminum.